favor her. Yes, the set time is come. So the heathen shall fear the name of Yahweh, and all the kings of the earth your glory. When Yahweh shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory. Shabbat Shalom, family. The selection today is Great Day.
Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Chariot rode on the mountaintop. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Miles spoke in the chariot side. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. This is a day of jubilee. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Yah's gonna set his people free. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
We want no cowards in our band.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
We call for valiant-hearted men.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
Gonna take my breastplate, sword, and shield,
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
and march out boldly in the field.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Chariot rode on the mountaintop. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Miles spoke in the chariot side. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. This is a day of jubilee. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Yah's gonna set his people free. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
We want no cowards in our band.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
We call for valiant-hearted men.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
Gonna take my breastplate, sword, and shield,
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
and march out boldly in the field.
Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls. Great day, the righteous marching, great day. Yah's gonna build up Zion's walls.
The oracles of the UCI, 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch on to prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear, than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's Holy Sabbath Day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Praise Yahweh indeed that we have another opportunity to read and do the things, or get closer to the things that are important unto him. Because as we look out amongst the earth and see the things that are going on, it is getting to be that time where we have to consider what is really important unto us. We had done a class maybe about a year or so ago, and I know we did it in Brothers class where we mentioned certain things. We did a full thing in Brothers class about upcoming food shortages and things like that. We even brought in the emergency food, put the links out there for people to get those things, and now here we are. We are right up on when the president of the so-called most powerful country in the world announced that we're on our way to a food shortage. Understand something. I don't think people are paying attention. These are the words that came out of Biden's mouth. Remember the last time, a lot of times things come out and they say, it was just me saying what might happen. Remember when they were talking about this COVID, and they were when Donald Trump was around, and everybody, he was at first putting it down. Then all of a sudden he came out with an exact number of people who would die. And you have to ask yourself now, where in the hell did that exact number come from? I mean, he just grabbed that number out of nowhere. First it wasn't that serious, and then a number came out. So we have to consider that are some real things that are happening in the midst amongst us. There are plans that have been set in play for a long time, and these things are beginning to get pushed forward. if you pay attention to the things that are going on in global news, you will see that there is a little bit of a war already going on with food supplies. Everything is open season right now, and we're going to have to consider how we're going to run this rat race that we voluntarily get ourselves in because we want to achieve the most out of life. But there comes a time when things get ready to they start changing around you. You have to also pay attention to the change. You know, when certain hurricanes hit, the people who are in Florida and Louisiana and those islands, those people will tell you that there was no difference between the rich and the poor. It was very slight difference. The big gap that's there in normal life, when turmoil hit, that gap changes. See, the rich man is in the same line for water that the poor man is. Now, they get a little bit more. You know, the ambulance and the authority is going to go to their area first. Okay? We know that much. But they thirsty just like everybody else. So then all of those things that we put our time and energy and power into, when everything hits the fan, you have to ask yourself, what's left over? All of the plaques and degrees that we have on the wall, they're going to be floating in the water. What's going to be left is, what do you know how to do? See, when the crap hit the fan, your degree not going to help you. What's going to help you is when they say, hey, man, who know how to tie this thing in a knot? Oh, I do. Hey, man, who know how to keep this boat from sinking? We found a boat, but it ain't all that good. Who know how to fix this? Oh, I do. Those are the things that are going to matter. But in a twisted society, everything else matters because those are the things that we use for pomp and circumstance and to earn us more money. None of that's going to matter. So we are getting closer to the point where we have to examine what really matters to us. And when situations change, if all of the things that matter to you stay the same, you're going to have a problem. Because you have not witnessed, you have not recognized that the landscape around you is changing. And that can change at the drop of a hat. We're talking about, you might have been working at a job for 20, 30 years. That job seemed really important unto you until an idiot shows up with a rifle. Now, how important is that job to you? See, the landscape just changed. But if your mindset does not change with the landscape that you are in, you are going to be in some deep trouble. Now, you're trying to preserve the job. This would be the time to preserve your life. Okay? Now it's time to change focus. The job meant a lot during regular times. But that dude's shooting. All right? Reevaluation, and we got to reevaluate real quick. You ain't got time to be pulling out your Texas Instrument and trying to figure out equations. No, E equals MC squared real quick. My main focus at this point is staying alive. I cares nothing about this job. None of that means anything if I don't make it home tonight. But if you have that tunnel vision and you stay in it, you're going to have some problems. I used to try to explain this to my oldest about learning how to change gears. He's like, what are you talking about? It's automatic. It changes gears by itself. So you know what? I'm going to teach you kids how to change gears. Because you can't keep the same speed, the same thought process, the same everything. You got to realize it's a hill coming up. I need a downshift so I can get more torque. I need to get ready for this hill. I need to either speed up and let my momentum. You got to think about the upcoming situation. You can't just ride that the same as you ride on flat land. You got to plan for that. And some of our lives take that same thing. No matter what, we're going to stay focused on the same thing. You better start paying attention to the landscape around you. Because as things are drastically changing, it is drastically putting it upon us to make decisions. And you ain't got all your life to make that decision. Let's begin today's sermon in Ecclesiastes chapter 9.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 1. For all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hand of Elohim. No man knows either love or hatred by all that is before them. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the clean, and to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth and to him that sacrificeth not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth, as he that feareth an oath. This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, that there's one event unto all. Yes, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live, and after that they go to the dead. For to him that is joined to all the living there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't focus and understand, you still counting the lion. Yeah, but your lion dead. Yeah, but look at the value of a lion. Yeah, but yours not living. See, you stuck in a place. As it is written, there's a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to love, and there's a time to hate. Do you understand what time it is? When everybody show up with automatic rifles, you cannot show up with roses. Go ahead.
For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Also their love and their hatred and their envy is now perished, neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun.
You know, when we look at, this thing, it says, there's an event that happens to the wicked and the righteous alike. The question is, how does that event affect us, and how does that event cause us to move and or change how we're dealing with things? I have been a witness to how one event can drastically alter the course of one's life. I was present for an event that I would later understand was a future projection of my life. Of course, at the time, I didn't understand, but I did years later. My best friend at the time had nothing to do with this event. He was just my ride there, as he was the only one of us at the time who had access to a car. I gradually noticed my best friend orchestrating events that he knew would turn into altercations. I couldn't for the life of me understand why he would do this. I told him that this path that he was on would surely lead to turmoil. He didn't care. He was hell-bent on this strange course of action. I later considered the event that happened in my life that he was privy to and realized that he was doing all he could to recreate a situation that he witnessed. This one event ultimately changed his life forever and caused him to burn bridges that would never be rebuilt, all because he was attempting to recreate a situation that had nothing to do with him. He was merely the ride there. There are situations that you just the stand in for. It ain't had nothing to do with you. But how do you allow it to affect you? Jump to verse 11. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 11, please.
I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not for the swift.
Now, and this is what we want to do, in this life. We want to do as much as we can to achieve something, to make a name for ourselves in the earth. When the earth changes state, you have to understand that none of that is going to matter. This doesn't mean do not have any aspirations of life. Don't think that I'm saying, Priest Huck said, I'm just going to get me a bottle of wine and sit under the shade tree. But you have to learn how to put those things into subjection. Put those things in an order. Because when all of this goes away, we're going to have to ask yourself some things. Do you define yourself by the job you have? Do you define yourself by the car you have? Do you define yourself by the house that you live in? Do you define yourself by the neighborhood that you live in? When all that's gone, who are you? Go ahead.
Nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to them all. For man also knows not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falls suddenly upon them. This wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemed great unto me. There was a little city, and few men within it. And there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built great bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city, yet no man remembered that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard.
Now, when it lets you know how people change based on the situation. See, the poor man's wisdom is amazing at the time that they need it. But once the rat race is restored, they don't remember the poor wise man. Yahweh has a tendency to allow things to stretch out so that they won't get back to your normal state until you acknowledge the things that have taken place around you. So we'll take a situation where while we were supposed to be punished for 1 week, 6 months later, we're still going through the same thing. But that's not on Yahweh. That's on us. Go ahead.
The words of wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that rules among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good.
All right. When we look at this, I ended up coming across some things, and I want to read to you guys this article. It says it's called "The Ivy League's Ties to Slavery Raise Questions for Prospective Students." Now, this was in Teen Vogue in April 30th, 2021. Brother, would you start reading that for me?
I first heard the name Elihu Yale 2 years ago. It was a hot July afternoon, and I was taking a tour of Yale University's New Haven campus, mesmerized by the collegiate Gothic buildings covered in winding ivy. As we walked along, our guide, a jovial rising senior with light blonde hair, mentioned that Yale's namesake was an East India Company merchant. I thought nothing of this, but then my mom leaned over and whispered in my ear, that means he was a slave trader.
Now, you see how if you don't catch the lingo of how this guy was openly saying something, but saying it in a way that this young person didn't understand what was being said. The mother had to lean over and say, they're letting you know that this was built from slaves. And then you have this Ivy League. See, that was a symbol, this ivy growing over things was a symbol of the highfalutin. Okay? So You have this thing, certain things are being presented right there. So they openly know this, but then when they display it, they display it in a way that it comes across so smooth. These things were built on slave labor. Go ahead.
With that, the fantasy of Ivy League came crashing down. These universities, like most long-standing American institutions, were built on the backs of enslaved black Americans.
Right. And their sports tells the story of why they fought so hard to make sure that college athletes would never get paid. They're accustomed to them working for free. They built the whole university off of them. So of course they don't want the college. And they talked about college athletes who took money like dogs. They were horrible, like less than human. Understand the kind of money that the universities are making off of these young 18, 19-year-old boys and girls. They're selling jerseys for $200-$300. Some of those tickets cost $600-$700. And those people don't have food to eat, some of them. Go ahead.
And in the summer of 2020, my generation rose up against this history. We marched with Black Lives Matter signs until our feet ached, organized protests, and wrote articles and posts on social media critiquing institutional racism.
Right. And this whole Black Lives Matter thing has been a real smokescreen used to merge the rights of black people with the rights of gay, lesbian, and transgender individuals. You know, and they did that seamlessly because the people who were behind Black Lives Matter just so happened to be a lot of lesbian or gay individuals, and then our movement got merged together. So anytime that you have a system of racial disparity, right behind that comes something about LGBTQ and all of these other things. So they are being merged together. They're not listed separately. Has anyone ever noticed that you never hear anything of racism against the Jews ever mentioned with any of that? See, they got their own term. Okay? So you anti-Semitic. That they have that term only for themselves. And I dare you mention lesbian, gay rights, or black rights with it. It stands by itself. It is not to be confused or merged with anything else. Yet ours is consistently merged. When somebody else can change their lifestyle, they can change their clothes, they can change their haircut and say, you know what? I don't want to live like that no more. I can't change being black. I can't work. Now I can. It won't be real, you know what I'm saying? But they got hell of a bleaching creams out there. Y'all seen Sammy Sosa? Mm-hmm. That is one of the scariest, ghostly looking. That is strange as all get out. And I don't think anybody think about when they bleaching themselves there. What you gonna do with those lips? What you gonna do with those lips? You know how strange it is to have some white dude with some big old black lips? Do you understand what kind of monkey you really look like right now? You didn't really think that through. Go ahead, bro.
I had spent my high school career organizing actions and fighting for social justice. Was it hypocritical for my dream school to be one whose history represents everything I have fought against?
Right. Now you understand why they're passing laws saying the 1619 Project cannot be taught in schools. They have absolutely barred it. Because what happens is when these young Gentiles get this information, they say, what? Oh no, we're going to fight against this. So they're not only trying to keep us in the dark, they want to keep the young Gentiles in the dark as well. Because when they get this information, they go into gear. Here's the problem. Some of them come from money. So, you take a brother that's been working for 10 hours, and then he get home, and you say, yeah, we finna go down here and march downtown. You know what that brother say? Man, y'all, I hope it work out. Because, see, that brother got to get ready, get all his stuff together, and get ready to go do it again in the morning. But when you have these young people who are living on trust fund, they might not go to work tomorrow or the next 52 tomorrows. All the bills are still paid. Oh, now they don't like those people to get upset. Why? Because they'll show up every day in front of your business with a picket sign. You're not going to stretch them out because they got money like that. They want to keep that level of truth from reaching them. Go ahead.
As college acceptance season rolls around, it's time for us to think critically when deciding which university to enter in the fall. So many U.S. institutions of higher learning are constructed and maintained with the labor of enslaved black Americans and continue to discriminate against black students well into the Jim Crow era. I am left grappling with my own college acceptance and what it means for me to enter an ivory tower like Yale. What is our responsibility?
Now, this is somebody considering this is actually a honorable thought. Most of the people ain't going to consider that. Go ahead.
Brown University opened a gateway for Ivy League accountability in 2003 when it established a committee to examine the university's historic relationship with slavery. It was discovered that approximately 30 founding members of Brown's governing board and the Brown family itself owned or captained slave ships.
Owned or captained slave ships. So these are the institutions of higher learning that we are going to, and understand the setup that's there. And if you're not paying attention to it, you don't see that they are pushing the same things that we think we're getting away from. Go ahead.
The other Ivy League schools followed suit and published reports of their own. Harvard College ascertained that enslaved laborers lived on campus, making the beds and meals of students, professors, and school presidents. Princeton University noted a slave auction was held on its campus in 1766.
That's the only one they could find, or the only one they knew they couldn't hide. Go ahead.
Before the Revolution, sons of merchants, many involved in the slave trade, attended King's College, now known as Columbia University. More than any other college in British North America, Dartmouth College quoted historian Craig Stephen Wilder, who stated in his book, Ebony and Ivy, Race, Slavery, and the Troubled History of America's University, that at the college's founding, there were arguably as many enslaved black people at Dartmouth as there were students in the college course. Members of the University of Pennsylvania's faculty and alumni helped frame the Constitution to support slavery.
Okay, so then you have this, and I know, when you first look at this, you say, that's those high up schools. But when those people graduate, who do you think run the lesser schools? Go ahead.
It was not until October 2020 that Yale established a committee to examine its connection with slavery, becoming the last Ivy League university to do so. According to research published by the Amistad Committee in 2001, the first professorship and first library at Yale were endowed by a slave trader and slave owner, respectively. The research also reveals that Yale's first set of scholarships were funded by the profits of a slave plantation that was donated to the school, and the majority of Yale's residential colleagues are named after the traders or defenders of slavery, even though they were named in the 1930s to 1960s.
Right, so then we see that they kept up a certain mindset, and where people say, we don't have anything to do with slavery. You have been educated with the funds of it. This is the basis of your education. But you have a generation of people that say, this has nothing to do with me. Go ahead.
Cornell University is the only Ivy League college with no connection to slavery. It was co-founded by a birthright Quaker, Ezra Cornell, in 1865, the same year slavery was abolished. The histories of Ivy League institutions continue to cause harm in the present day. When Amber Joseph was a student at Yale from 2005 to 2009, Calhoun College, named after a cruel slave owner and pro-slavery activist, had not yet been renamed. We knew who he was and what he stood for, Joseph says. That was pretty horrifying for us to think about.
Right. So they have to still walk around all of these monuments and all of these things. Did you guys see? I don't forget what the guy's name is. The black guy, doctor, who does his little reports, and he'll look like he on CNN. And he was talking about the people who did. It was an insurance company that decided that they would put a sign in the window for Juneteenth. Yeah, so he put the sign in there, you know, you have a day off for Juneteenth. Go enjoy your collard greens and chicken. And now this dude done got dropped. He had an agency for Progressive Insurance, I think it was, and then got his whole agency dropped because he decided to put this statement in the window. Which, you know, and one of the things that the guy was saying was, who gets mad about a day off? As much as we have had to go through here, and people tell us, you know, hey, you off on 4th of July. I know that my people wasn't free on the 4th of July. It wasn't my independence. But you know what? I ain't going to work Monday, though. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. I can tell you, yeah, you put that on everything. You put that on there. You know, put that on everything I love, partner. I won't be there on Monday, I tell you that. So it's like you ought to protest and go to work because you ain't, no. So I'm going to protest at the house. And come on. Believe that. Go ahead, bro.
The building's dining room featured a stained glass window that showed black people picking cotton, which was shattered by a black employee in 2016. Students,
See, that's when Jake get mad. And he been looking at this thing this whole time. Go ahead.
Students would sit under it and eat, Joseph recalls. Yale's dining staff is predominantly black, as is the custodial staff, and it just felt like such an affront.
In other words, they're setting up the school to stay in the mind. It looks exactly like the setup. All of the servants will be black. They will purposely go and get these people so that they are serving these individuals. So they are promoting the white supremacist mindset even as they are learning and going to classes. They are being indoctrinated to believe that they are so much better than you. Go ahead.
Each residential college was headed by a master. And Joseph's College, Pearson, had the same layout as a southern plantation, with the housing in the back originally named the slave quarters.
Right. So everything is set up the exact same way. See, there's certain things that you learn from people telling you. There's other things that you learn by noticing it, by witnessing something. You're being taught whether you know it or not. When the man comes home and the woman start going into the kitchen, everybody learning. Okay, so that's what you do when daddy come home. Nobody had to tell everybody in the house this is what happened. When he get ready to come home and everybody start cleaning up their stuff, you didn't look around when everybody started cleaning. Oh, daddy must be on the way home. And nobody tell you. You notice. So they are teaching them by giving them the display and setting up the landscape. Go ahead.
Until 2007, the Yale Corporation met under a massive painting of Elihu Yale with an enslaved person. Although many of these signifiers of Yale's past have been removed, Joseph believes that the university has always tried to see what they can get away with. Asked for comment, a Yale spokesperson sent Teen Vogue links to articles on the university's website explaining their principles for renaming school buildings, including Calhoun College, which Yale President Peter Slovey said was named after a prominent advocate for and defender of slavery. Akina Nebo, a junior at Columbia, describes monuments on campus of slave owners and those who perpetuated racist beliefs. A statue of Thomas Jefferson, a slaveholder.
But hey, we're going to get the story about being a hero. All right, go ahead.
Stands on the steps of Columbia's journalism school, and one of the university's dormitories was named for slave owner Samuel Bard. But Nebo says his real reckoning with Columbia's cultural history happened in the classroom. When you take a deeper dive into what the school's core curriculum is, it's really just an amalgamation of white works, he says, given the resources it has.
An unlimited resource of funds. Go ahead.
Nebo has been left wondering why the school has not put forward a more diverse curriculum.
Right. So then we also understand when we look at the laws that have been passed to make sure that the 1619 project is not read in any schools. You find that then happening on every level, that they are controlling the curriculum, controlling which things you are going to learn. Go ahead.
We must also understand that the Ivy League mindset is not restricted to Ivy League schools. The graduates of Ivy League schools go on to form or reside over smaller schools, bringing the same mindset into them.
Right. Now, we must look at our desire to keep up with the Joneses has us attempting to get the same advantages for our kids that the heathen has afforded for theirs. The difference is that theirs is murder and mayhem connected to the things that they are afforded. When we enter the race to obtain as they, we also subject ourselves to the carnage that comes as a result of their dealings. The desire to fit in becomes more wicked as the circles that you are in become more wicked. Your desire to fit in is now being governed by the acceptance of the evil that is surrounding you. If those surroundings are depraved, your goals become as depraved as the surroundings permit. The young person in the Teen Vogue article, who was no doubt Gentile, vowed that as they accepted their entrance into this prestigious Ivy League school, that they promised to cause change to the system, which we all must admit is honorable. But how many times have we heard of one's good intentions to change the nature of the beast, only to be devoured by the beast that they are determined to change? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3, and we're going to read, start that at verse 1.
My son, forget not my law, but let your heart keep my commandments.
Okay, so one of the things that we have to do is no matter how we attempt to achieve other things, we have to remember where our base is. See, when you look at when things become depraved, the first thing, even when you look at the predators of the world, the first thing they need to do is to get you away from your place of power. So the creep wants to always take the woman on a vacation. She gets happy. We want to take me out of town, child. Right. Because all your morals are connected to that place. The further he gets you away from that place, the easier it will be to get you away from your morals. See, there's a mindset there that if we're not paying attention, there's something connected to that. There's a reason why that always happens. And you find every creep in every town do the same thing. Why? Because they know it works. So then as we deal with things, we have to then make sure that we kind of maintain some kind of connection. Because there's folks that went on trips and you never seen them again. Why? That individual was trying to get them away from their place of power, their place of morals. No, I don't do that right there. But once you get in the other circle, you find out, oh no, all these people do this. Okay, well, I guess it must be okay. Then you understand why you have these things in this book where Cephas, a grown man, said, I now have to reconsider, where that Yahweh should not say that I should not call any man common or unclean. He said, you know how it's unlawful for a Jew to be of company of a man of another nation. Why was that even Yahweh's focal point? Because he knows as our surroundings change, so does your moral standard. See, Yahweh knew his people. See, the worst thing you can do is not know your people. When you think they better than they are, oh, they stronger than they are, they can handle that. Yeah, they can handle it. Go hang out at the crack house. Here's some crack. They can handle it. The worst thing you can do is not know yourself or think that you're strong enough. There have been situations that I knew wasn't good for me, and I've told brother, look here, man, I got to go over in this place right here. But, and see, we don't like to do this because this is an admission about ourselves. But I remember having to say to a brother, look, man, I'm going to get here, and I know ain't nothing wrong at this house. I know I'm being brought back to this house for a reason. Look, I'm going to need you to call. I'm going to call you when I get ready to go in. Make sure I don't stay in there no more than 15 minutes. Because I'm telling you, this sister built like a brick house in the country on 30 acres of land. Don't let me stay in here. Don't let me stay in here. Now, I'm trusting you. I need you to make this call. You understand? I said, now this is the part where you got to know yourself. When you call me the second time, I'm going to tell you I'm all right. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Make sure, keep calling me until I leave. It happened just like I told him it was going to happen. I said the same. Now I'm straight. That brother kept calling me. I had to tell, thank you, brother, because it wasn't looking good. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right. See, we have to pay attention in how things are being set up, especially as we enter into, this is a different phase of history. There's a blessing and a curse included in the things that we're seeing. My elder would have loved to be alive right now, to witness all of these things that he's been teaching about for 20, 30 years. But then there's also the curse of this is happening in your generation. Go ahead, brother.
Brother, in that situation that you were just talking about, your scenario, you didn't set it up, but are we smart enough to see the setup coming?
Right. That is a very interesting thing. See, there's some things that Yahweh is designing for you, and then there's something that Yahweh may be designing for somebody else. Do you take hold of something that was actually meant for somebody else? This is where we begin to envy the oppressor. We envy him because we watch certain things. And because Yahweh has placed judgment at certain time intervals, we then begin to believe that certain things are okay. There was a question that was in Bible study I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was mentioning something about, the sons not being punished or put to death for the sins of the fathers. But what happens is sometimes we don't focus on our own question. It says the sons shall not be put to death for the fathers. It didn't say they weren't going to pay for their sins. We then took the one statement and believed that, okay, So the son won't get punished at all. Let me tell you something. If you done robbed a bunch of people, you now have a very nice house. You can now afford to send your kid to a very prestigious private school. That all came about by the funds that were taken from somebody else. Now, that kid has not stolen anything. That kid has not told any lies. That kid has not done anything wrong. But that kid's entire life was cushioned on the thievery that came from another generation. He's going to have to deal with that. The wonderful things that has been given to him in his life was given to him because it was taken from somebody else. Now, to them, that's going to seem unfair, but it is what it is. So, when you read that the son shall not be put to death, that don't mean they ain't going to pay for what their fathers did. You benefited from it, didn't you? All right, then. Go ahead.
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 2. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to you.
Right. We think the things that we do add health and good life and long days unto us.
It's because I've been walking. I've been doing a lot of walking. I've been doing stretching. I started doing yoga. And I meditate a lot.
Go ahead.
Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them about your neck. Write them upon the table of your heart.
See, when you do the things that Yahweh is pleased with, he will lead you to the things that will help you physically. While everybody else is studying and doing all of this stuff, you'll take care of Yahweh's business and he'll turn around and make your car break down at a herb shop. You can't, everybody you call, they won't answer the phone. You be like, I don't understand what's going on. My car done stopped right here. You just look up. Spiritual food. I guess I'll go in here because it's hot out here. My car won't run, so the AC won't work. So I'm going to go in here and hang out in this herb shop. That's the place that he done led you. And this one conversation that you finna have in there is about to change your life. Now, other people will look for that for the next 50 years. They'll study herbs. They'll know everything about herbs. It ain't going to do them a bit of good. Because they still won't find that. He will make an accident lead you to the one place that they've been searching for 20, 30 years. And he'll lead you right to it. Not because you were diligently searching. No, because you were taking care of some other business that he needed you to take care of way over there. See, if you think you're going to lose time, you're already losing. Because although they spend all their time taking care of their business is never taken care of. Go ahead.
So shall you find favor and good understanding in the sight of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
What you think I just said? See, a lot of times we listen to something, but we don't get the layman's term. When it says, "In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths," that sounds good when you read it on paper. But when your car breaks down in front of a herb shop when you're sick, it don't sound so good. He directed your path. So you're thinking this is going to be like, Yahweh just going to come in, cycle to the mall. No. Your car going to break down. Something going to happen and it might seem horrible. Man, I just put $2,000 in this car. Why is this car breaking down? Then you look up and see where it broke down. How else he was going to get you to stop that? If he had actually said, go to the health store, you'd have took off running and went the opposite way anyway. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. The problem is you don't understand when your path being directed. Go ahead.
Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. It shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones.
See, this is the real part of your health. Once you start doing that, Yahweh will push you to certain things. Go ahead.
Honor Yahweh with your substance and with the first fruits of all your increase. So shall your barns be filled with plenty, and your presses shall burst out with new wine.
But when we trying to fill that up on our own, something always happens. You start taking care of his business, and all of a sudden, your barns start filling up. Why? Because all those other things not coming out of it. You know, I try to explain to people, you know, it really looks like the drug dealer is on the fast pace of life and he got all of this stuff, right? But then when the bus come, they take everything. He got to start over. So then he start back over. He starts selling dope. He make the money quick. Another bus come. He got to do some time and they take all that stuff. Meanwhile, the dude that been working at UPS, he ain't had no bus and they ain't took nothing. At the end of life, he got all the stuff that the drug dealer had. Why? Because he just kept keeping his stuff. And he kept gradually. See, this is the race. Because we in a hurry to get all the stuff, we don't pay attention. You see that dude that's moving like a turtle? See, but turtle ain't lost nothing. See, y'all ain't never heard the story of the tortoise and the hare? Okay, the rabbit jumps out, man, and it looked like he making it happen. But as fast as he get it, that's how fast he gonna lose it. The turtle just going. He just going. But you know what? Everything they keep tucking under that shell, stay up under that shell. That hare done lost everything. Keep starting over. Keep going here. Keep starting over. Keep doing this. Gotta do this. Gotta do this. Just moving all over the place. The slow turtle got everything that he has gotten in life. He is not losing it. But you can't tell that to the rabbit. The rabbit like, look how slow this move. He ain't gonna never have nothing in life. He ain't never gonna have nothing. Come on, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And you look, and the rabbit ain't got nothing. But the rabbit done been everywhere. Done been here, done been there, been over here, been over there, been down there twice. Been over here 2 times, been over here, been over there, all over there. And the turtle's still chugging along. But he hadn't had to forfeit any of his stuff. In the story, we like to be the hare because we want to be the fast one. We don't even understand the moral of the story. Go ahead, bro.
You know, brother, you ever drove a certain place day in, day out, week, month, year, and then one day you in the passenger seat and drive that same route and then you looking, what the hell? I never knew this was here.
Mm-hmm.
Change of perspective.
Multiple times I've had that. And threw me off so much, in fact, that I accuse people of taking the wrong route. I had to apologize to them people. Where the hell we going? Where you? Oh, this is same? Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I ain't never seen this, huh? What you mean you ain't never seen this? You been driving here for 2 years? Yeah, but my eyes was on the road. I didn't see those buildings over there. Right. Go ahead, brother.
My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh, neither be weary of his correction.
Right. See, because he disciplines his children. See, something goes wrong, Yahweh comes in and checks that. If it's not one of his kids, he let them go. But this is what causes us to envy the oppressor. Why are they not getting punished and they doing this? Why are they not getting, every time I do it, something happen? He's not their daddy. He's not punishing them. That's their daddy Lucifer's job. He gonna let their daddy deal with them. And he gonna deal with his people. Go ahead.
For whom Yahweh loves, he corrects.
Uh-huh.
Even as a father the son in whom he delights.
Right. So if he don't love you, he gonna stop correcting you. Be very worried when you stop being corrected. That's not what we do. We'll worry when we correct.
I get punished so much. I just feel like giving up everything. I don't know, just wham. I said, wham, did you hit me?
But when you get to that point where there's no more correction, be very worried. Because that's that point where Yahweh said, you know what? There's wounds, bruises, and putrefying sores. It shall never be healed. Just let it rot. Go ahead.
Happy is the man that finds wisdom, and the man that gets understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things you can desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. See, she is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retains her.
She is a tree of life. This is the one that in the adversary's quest to get us to depart from our Elohim, he didn't talk to us about certain trees. He wanted to have a conversation about the tree of knowledge, but not the one of life. See, he wanted you to get so smart that you die. But if he really wanted you to be smart, if he really wanted you to increase, he would have talked to you about that other tree. He didn't talk to you about that one because he knew that certain forms of understanding was going to corrupt you. And we keep thinking, the more I know, the better. There's sometimes you know enough to get yourself killed. See, Yahweh will blind you in certain situations because there was some knowledge that he didn't want you to have. But for some reason, the fleshly tables of our mind can't process that.
You mean tell me there's knowledge that why would a wise Elohim, why would he not want me to have knowledge?
Because you're going to kill your fool self with it. And knowledge at the wrong time is even more destructive. There's certain things that you shouldn't even learn until you are at a certain stage in your life. It used to be a point where the television had all of these things on it, so you could say, you know what? I'm not going to have my children watching these programs because, these programs got some stuff in it that they don't need to be dealing with. Now, the damn commercial come on. You can be watching a good, clean, wholesome show. I'm talking about good, clean, wholesome like wheat bread. You understand? And then a commercial come on that is so absolutely foul. You just got to sit there and your kid looking at you like, everybody in the house stunned. Like, there's no way to monitor commercials. They ain't came up with that system yet. So the commercial can go anywhere. So how they still defile the minds of individuals, they will be watching a wholesome show and a corrupt commercial comes on. But that's how that knowledge of making certain things seem okay, it is gradually getting into the psyche of the individuals who are seeing it. Go ahead.
Yahweh by wisdom has founded the earth. By understanding has he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from your eyes. keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto your soul and grace to your neck. Then shall you walk in your way safely, and your foot shall not stumble. When you lie down, you shall not be afraid. Yes, you shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked, when it comes. For Yahweh shall be your confidence, and shall keep your foot from being taken.
Yahweh shall be your confidence and shall keep your foot from being taken. You can do all the things that you need to do to try and secure yourself. But you still don't know the hour, the minute, the second that certain things are going to take place. That's out of your control. Go ahead.
Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do it. Say not unto your neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when you have it by you. Devise not evil against your neighbor, seeing he dwells securely by you. Strive not with a man without cause, if he's done you no harm. Envy you not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
And we do envy the oppressor. See, we see certain things, and it does cause us to envy. You know, one of the biggest things of trouble I got into was because I was envying one of my friends that was doing wrong, and it looked like they were prospering with it. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go with y'all today. The day I went, the day everybody got locked up. Oh, Yahweh was poetic. He was poetic. Everybody went to jail when I went. Right. Envying what other people was doing. See, we envy the oppressor, we envy the wicked. And that situation was me sticking my nose into something that didn't have nothing to do with me. I had to tell my friend, you realize, and I say we got set up. I wasn't even supposed to be there. He was setting him up. If I'd have paid attention, I would have saw the look in the guy's face. But see, this is our own thing that we deal with. When he realized I was going, he had this look on his face. And I was like, what was that look? Oh, that look made sense at the end of the day when everybody went to jail. Except the guy who had just got out of jail for murder. He didn't go to jail that night. I said, bro, does that make any sense to you? The only one of us who has actually murdered somebody is the only one who got let out of the car. And bro, this was set up. And my envy led me right into the setup. He didn't pick it out because he was being baited over months and months. I picked it out easy because it happened the one time I went. I had to put all of the things in front of him so he could see. Of course, this ain't the conversation you want to have in the jail cell, but that's how it went down. It is what it is. All right? But sometimes that's when you are able to process information. See, sometimes you have too much to process information. See, you got a nice cushy bed at the house. You know, you got air conditioning. Can't nobody reach you. Get you in that 6x6, 3 hots and a cot. Oh, all of a sudden you listening. You listening. I mean, you focus. You ready to learn. Your spiritual antennas is up. Right. You might want to see if you can do that without being in that 6x6. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 32, For the froward is abomination to Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he gives grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools.
All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 9.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1. Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Yahshua HaMashiach our Adonai? Are not you my work in the Adonai? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless am I to you, for the seal of mine apostleship are you in the Adonai. Mine answer to them that do examine me is this: have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Adonai and Cephas? Or I only and Barnabas? Have not we power to forbear working? Who goes a warfare any time at his own charges? Who plants a vineyard and eats not of the fruit thereof? Or who feeds a flock and eats not of the milk of the flock? Say I these things as a man? Or saith not the law the same also? For it is written in the law of Moshe, you shall not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treads out the corn. Does Elohim take care for oxen?
See, he's dealing with those that govern the flock. You have certain situations where they want to muzzle the ox that treads out the corn. Well, you can say this, but don't say that. And that happens in most congregations. All you got to do is accept that money that the government giving you, and they put a muzzle on the ox that treads out the corn. Because then they start directing what things you can teach. But your buildings are going to keep getting nicer. You're going to keep getting nicer stuff. But you're being muzzled. Go ahead.
Or saith he it altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and he that thresheth in hope should be partaker of his hope. If we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of the Mashiach. Do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple? And they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so has the Adonai ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. But I have used none of these things.
He said, but I have used none of these things. It's supposed to come to me, but I've used none of them. Go ahead.
Neither have I written these things that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glorying void. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yes, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. For if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. What is my reward then? Verily that, when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of the Mashiach without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. And unto the Yehudis I became as a Yehudi, that I might gain the Yehudis, to them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law.
Right. Now, the interesting part is you have this is a New Testament writing, but people will tell you blanketly that everybody has the same rights, the same liberty, the same opportunity to not deal with anything in the law. Yet, the New Testament writings don't say that. There's a separation in between the law and those that have it not. Go ahead.
To them that are without law.
And this ain't the only place you're going to find out in the New Testament. You go to Romans, you're going to find the same thing. He puts a separation between these groups. Yet when you go into the majority, 99.99% of churches, they're going to give you a one-size-fits-all salvation package. And it's not so according to what's written in this book. Go ahead.
To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to Elohim, but under the law of the Mashiach, that I might gain them that are without law. To the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I am made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. Know you not that they which run in a race run all, but one receives the prize? So run, that you may obtain.
Mm-hmm.
And every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
Right. But we have to remember that we run the race for a different reason. We are running this race for an incorruptible crown. But as you are surrounded by the corrupt, you start renegotiating the crown. And everybody believes that it's not going to happen to them. Go ahead.
I therefore so run, not as uncertainly.
No, he didn't say I ain't going to run.
Because you got those, man, just so much out there, man. I'm just going to go and I'm just not going to do anything. That way I won't do nothing wrong if I don't do nothing.
Go ahead.
So fight I, not as one that beats the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Right. Let's go to our Hebrews chapter 12. My elder used to also say that there's going to come a time when we're going to have to lock the church doors and tell people that can't no more come in. Wait as things keep getting interesting. Remember now, Yahshua, there's a whole writing where Yahshua said, you didn't come for, the real bread that came from heaven. You came because the people ate and were filled. You just came here to eat. He said, as things start picking up, then you have all the Johnny-come-latelys. Once destruction is about to hit, everybody gonna find God. Because we want to find God right at the last minute. We want to do as much absolute hell as we can possibly do. And we want to find God at 11:59. Matter of fact, that's what I think I'm going to call them now. That's them 11:59 worshipers. See, them 11:59 worshipers, they got to get right in before the time change, But when you try that, there's a reason why it says, no man knows the hour. So you keep trying to guess that time of destruction and try to slide in right before destruction hit. You ain't going to be able to figure that time out to save your life. Go ahead, bro.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Yahshua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be wearied and faint in your minds. You have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks unto you as unto children. My son, despise not you the chastening of the Adonai, nor faint when you are rebuked of him. For whom the Adonai loves, he chastens, and scourges every son whom he receives.
Right. This is what's going to make us better. But what we keep trying to do is skip the chastisement. Go ahead.
If you endure chastening.
If you endure. See, there's some, as soon as they are chastened, they gone. They out. Soon as they suffer anything for the word, it's a done deal. Yet we can be on a job, They can talk to us in all kind of way. We encounter all kind of bad things, but we stay there because we gonna get paid. We don't see it, but you just put that thing over your Elohim because you got a list of things you ain't gonna deal with in certain situations. Then we'll be in a bad relationship. Everything happens in that relationship. We still there. Get in the word, one bad thing happen, they done. We don't even understand. Do you understand what you just said to your Elohim? I go through this for Pookie, but I ain't going through this for you. Okay. Go ahead.
If you endure chastening, Elohim deals with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are you bastards and not sons.
Nah, you Lucifer's son. Go ahead.
You know, and that's the thing. You get these new wave parents is like, well, I'm not going to chastise my child because I didn't like it when I was young. Excuse me, are you dead? Are you in prison? No. Okay, then. It seems like something kept you out of them places, right? And you don't want the same for your child?
Brother, some folk don't chastise their child, and later on their child going to be chastising them. Because you don't whoop that kid, and that kid get... And I see some of the folks, and I be like, hey, that little boy putting his hand on you. That little boy too. If you don't fix that right now, that boy gonna get bigger. And when he put his hand on you then, you're not gonna get back up. See, kid even think about it. I'm gonna make him have nightmares. And according to this book, if you don't chasten him, you don't love the kid. Why? Because you are setting the child up for destruction. You are leading this child straight to destruction, and you don't love something and lead it to destruction. That's not love. And that's the thing, when you don't understand what love is, then you don't understand that you're not showing it to that child. No child is going to love being disciplined. You know? I'm sure when your kids wanted to get into that car that had that wreck, they weren't happy when you didn't let them get in that car. When everybody else come out the car all beat up, bleeding, and kids like, I'm so glad my dad didn't let me get in that car. Oh my goodness. Whoa! Now you're a champion. You see that's how the kids do? One minute they, oh hell daddy. Next minute they like, go to hell daddy. Hey, but if you're a daddy, you got to be able to take that. You got to be able to take that every day. Your kids ain't going to be happy with you. See, if you're trying to make them happy with you all day, every day, then you're not a parent. You ain't willing to accept. We ain't always happy with Yahweh. You think he don't know that? You think he don't know that? But we're going to be parents, and we're going to make sure our kids happy with us all the time, 24/7. Day in, day out, our kids gonna love us. You suck as a parent if your kid love you that much. If they always happy with you, you are a horrible parent. My kids smile at me too much, I get worried. The hell are y'all smiling at me for? Go in here and whoop somebody. Go ahead, bro.
Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now, no chastening for the present seems to be joyous.
Right, because a kid gonna want to do something that you're gonna have to say no. They're not going to understand. They're not going to understand your reasoning, your logic, any of that. And it may not be for them to understand right now. They might have to grow up and get their own kid and then come and sit down in front of Big Daddy or Big Mama chair and say,
Now I understand.
Uh-huh. See, you got to be strong enough to wait 20 years on the understanding. See, that's the problem with some of y'all. Y'all need understanding by tonight. There's some things that your kid ain't going to understand and your kid ain't going to thank you for until about 20 years from now.
That time I wanted to do such and such, and you said, hell to the no. Thank you. Why are you saying that? Because I just found out what happened to little James when they went, you ain't going to get that thank you till 20 years later. And they might be contemplating how they're going to tell you for about 2 months. You keep looking at them. And you be like, why you keep looking at me? Nothing. No, it's something in there. No, it ain't. Okay, well, yes, it is. Look, and then you get it. Oh, you've been wondering how you were going to say this to me for the last 2-3 months. Right. You know why? Because they know the hell that they gave you when you disallowed it. They gave you pure D hell. We do Yahweh the same way. We trying to get a job. He don't let us get the job. I can't believe that. You're supposed to be my Elohim. You ain't giving that. That was perfect for me. When? I said when? Then you get a little bit more information and you be like, oh. Wait a minute. That's the job that they shot up and killed everybody in. Oh, hell Yahweh. Yeah. Whatever. You think he didn't know that? Hey, he waiting on you like, now you figured it out yet? That I was saving your life? Go ahead, bro.
But grievous. Nevertheless, afterward, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them.
Afterward, it does this. So if you're looking for oh, mommy or daddy, thank you for not letting me do this. Oh, thank you for upholding this for me. If that's what you're looking for right now, you suck as a parent. Because that ain't going to happen. I got one about 30 years old. I'm still waiting on. You better lace up. Go ahead.
Unto them which are exercised thereby. Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Adonai. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness spring up, trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. For you are not come onto the mount that might be touched, and that burnt with fire, nor onto blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of a trumpet, and the voice of words, which voice they that heard entreated that the word should not be spoken to them any more. For they could not endure that which was commanded, and if so much as a beast touch the mountain, it shall be stoned or thrust through with a dart. And so terrible was the sight that Moshe said, I exceedingly fear and quake. But you are come onto Mount Zion, and onto the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the general assembly and church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Elohim the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Yahshua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaketh better things than that of Abel. See that you refuse not him that speaks, for if they escape not who refused him that spake on earth, how much more shall not we escape, if we turn away from him that speaks from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth, but now he has promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word, yet once more, signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace, whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear. For our Elohim is a consuming fire.
Wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear. When we have reverence and godly fear, it's a certain way that we operate. When you respect the power that is amongst you. Now, we don't have any problem doing this when natural things come around. See, when we go to one of our friends' house and they got 2 or 3 of them pit bulls, we walk very gingerly. We know how to operate around that power. We're like, no sudden movements. Suddenly, we don't like sudden movements. Then we get among spiritual things and act like we don't understand what reverence and godly fear is. You understood it when you walked in that man's house and he had them pit bulls sitting in there. And he said, oh no, they're perfectly trained. They ain't gonna move. You still, the pit bull ain't moved at all. All he moved was his head as you walk by. But boy, your step, you knew where every foot was going. You had an intention with every step. There was not one waver in your step. Right. If you can do it at one point, you can do it at another. And sometimes you got to tell yourself that. If I can operate from 9 to 5 a certain way, that means I can operate from 5 to 9 a certain way as well. Go ahead, bro.
You know, in verse 27, it says, and this word yet once more signifying the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, the least little thing we shaking and we gone.
Yep.
How are we going to have foundation? How are we going to get rooted? If this is telling you, if you're not rooted when he comes around and does this, you're going to be removed.
You're going to have some serious issues. Because everything, that's one of the things that I'm trying to paint with this picture. You're going to have to make a decision which things are important unto you. Because the landscape is changing right in front of us. What, gas about $5 a gallon?
Some places.
You know, at first, having a big old SUV was a good thing. Now you look at your car. I mean, they got to start getting therapists at the pump. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I like 20 on pump 10 and a therapy session, please. Life changing, Jack. People didn't see how this little conflict in Russia has got people about to starve over in Africa. How all of this grain that's coming from those areas are not going out, which then gives Russia a whole nother leg of power. They are now controlling whether or not the rest of the world eat. And look at what's happening. Then their counterpart, China, is over. China has basically said they want to run the entire Asian world. So they want to run their side, and Russia want to run their side. Now, China is coming at Taiwan. Taiwan make all the chips. So you got one that wants to control everything that has something to do with technology, and the other wants to control everything that has something to do with you eating. What else is there? If you control the food and the technology, and then they are in cahoots with each other, I don't think we're paying attention. Did you finish that, brother?
Yes.
Let's go to Psalm chapter 73. You know, there's folks that are saying now, you know, they arguing. They say, you know, our 401ks are losing money. You know, they were telling us, you know, saying you need to invest, you need to put your money in the 401k. You need to do all that.
That 401k is turning into a 202B. That thing is just keep getting smaller and smaller. Uh-huh. I like some numbers missing out your 401 right there. That number keep getting smaller. Okay. What are you defining yourself by? Because to some of us, that was what gave us our oomph, our power to stand, our thinking that we are taken care of. Every now and then we just look over at the savings account. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Right. What happens? Are y'all aware what place is it? I think it might be China. Where they just told them, look, y'all can't, nobody come to the bank. What? No, nobody come. They fighting in the street. They got money. They can't get to it. They said, no, we found some corruptness in these 3 banks. Can't nobody else take out no money out of these banks. Oh, they going off. It's one thing to be broke because you broke. It's another thing to be broke because your money is on the other side of that wall and they won't let you go on the other side of that wall. Oh, that's a total different situation. Now guess what happened? They are now in the same predicament as the poor man. But what gave you your feeling is that you have all of these things. What happened when the landscape changes and you can't get to any of that? Now what holds you up? You need to figure out what holds you up, because if that is based on all these other things, when they disappear, you're going to have some internal problems. Go ahead, brother.
Truly Elohim is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well near slipped.
Now see, we won't be strong enough to say that. In all of our stories, y'all know we win. In the parable of the tortoise and the hare, we so arrogant we pick out the wrong character. Because we want to pick out the one who looked like he winning. He don't really win though. See, he winning most of the race. But it don't matter who wins most of the race. See, the people who lost the championship don't come up and say, well, we won most of the game. See, it don't matter if you won most of the game. At the end of the game, your score was lower. You didn't win the game. I love to watch the post-fight interviews where the guy argues that he won most of the fight. No, I won most of that fight. If you look at that fight, I won most of it. Who told you when you woke up, though? Okay? Who told you when you woke up that you had won most of it? Okay? Who told you? See? Yeah, you was winning that part before you went night-night. You know what I'm saying? Before he gave you that night-night punch, you was winning. But you know what happened? They don't give out a belt for winning most of the fight. They don't have, you know what I'm saying, a championship and for most of the fight. There's no award for winning most of the fight. The same as running most of your race. You keep looking at who looked like they took off first. Now you get nervous. The race is not given to the swift. The race is given to those who persevere and finish. Go ahead, bro.
For I was envious at the foolish.
Of course. See, this is what get us right here. Being envious at the foolish. Well, they did such and such. Go ahead.
When I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm.
Right. Elohim don't seem to be punishing them. Go ahead.
They are not in trouble as other men.
They ain't in trouble. I look at all this stuff that be going on in my life, and I'm like, why it ain't happening to them? I do wrong, I don't even be finished doing it, and wrong happened to me. I was planning all this wrong, and I couldn't even get to step 2 in my wrong chart.
Right. We don't see that as a blessing. Go ahead.
neither are they plagued like other men.
Uh-huh.
Therefore pride compassed
You
them.
see what it does? This is what they stand firm in, because they are able to do evil and nothing happens to them. So they stand firm and they talk proudly. Why do you think Saul says, I magnify my infirmities? See, I know Yahweh with me. Go ahead.
Therefore pride compassed them about as a chain. Violence covers them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness, and they have more than heart could wish.
Right, and this is what really drives us to envy. Go ahead.
They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily.
Right. When you go back to the law and it says, talking about when Yahweh says that he who has his privy member cut off cannot enter into the sanctuary and all of those things, understand, those were parents that were doing that to their children so that their children could advance in life. They could work in those big houses. They could work in the harems and get paid. Parents were doing that to their children. All in the name of accumulating more in this race. So Yahweh had to put a warning. I'm telling you, they ain't never going to be able to come in here. You better not do that to them. They weren't signing themselves up for that. Go ahead.
They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walks through the earth. Therefore this people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out of them. And they say, how does Elohim know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. Verily I have cleansed my heart in vain, and washed my hands in innocence. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning.
Right. These are the things that keep us walking in the way that we're supposed to. We would like to believe, and it's our own arrogance, that we will do right without any righteous judgment from Yahweh. We want to believe that. I mean, it's a really good thought. Go ahead.
If I say, I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of your children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me. Until I went into the sanctuary of Elohim, then understood I their end. Surely they did set them in slippery places. You cast them down into destruction.
Right. But physically, it looks like they're achieving. But they're in slippery places. Go ahead.
How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment. They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awakes. So, O Adonai, when you awaketh, you shall despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I, and ignorant. I was as a beast before you. Nevertheless have I in heaven but you, and there's none upon earth that I desire beside you. My flesh and my heart fails, but Elohim is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. For, lo, they that are far from you shall perish. You have destroyed all them that go a-whoring from you. But it is good for me to draw near to Elohim. I have put my trust in the Adonai Elohim, that I may declare all your works.
All right. Now, when I was young, my mother didn't take me to church much growing up. But there were things that she always said to me that will never go away. All of us are used to some sayings. The most frequently spoken was, God don't like ugly. Now, I had to get older before I realized that that went both ways. It was always spoken concerning somebody else. When somebody did something, God don't like ugly. You have to get older and realize, he don't like your ugly either. Another one I was told, if you dig a hole for somebody, make sure you dig two. One for them and one for you. But the most profound one of all was that there was a scorekeeper in the sky. That one was the most profound because it speaks of righteous judgment. even though there was no belief in biblical law. We assume he keeps score like us, but he doesn't. If we see wrong on Tuesday, we expect the righting of that wrong to happen by Wednesday. We give Elohim at least one day to figure it out. But the truth is, while we're playing checkers, Yahweh is playing an intricate, high-stakes spiritual form of chess. Some sins are committed in one generation, yet they will not be vindication until another generation. The scorekeeper knows how to keep score perfectly. He knows that the arrogant and proud show no fear or remorse when it comes to their deeds. They don't care really what happens to them. So the great scorekeeper will place pause on their judgment and allow the deeds that they have placed upon somebody else's child to eventually be placed upon their child. This is the only way that he can prick their hearts of stone. So when we operate in such a manner, we in fact choose the form of judgment that will be enacted. You know, it's one of the things that my elder used to say all the time is that youth is wasted on the young. And he used to say these things and used to look, we all used to look at him like, what are you talking about? How is youth wasted on the young? He said, you have all of this power to do stuff, but your mind can't really understand the real purpose of why you even doing it. And by the time you figure it out, you done wasted all your bodily energy on all the wrong things. And when you sit down and meditate on that, the earlier you receive something, the less it means to you. When you first get money, you have to get a batch of money several times to learn how to deal with money. Because that first batch, you can go ahead and count that one lost. You go ahead and count that. I hope that ain't your last one. You know what I'm saying? I hope that ain't your... See, some people don't get but one big lump. You better hope you get it a couple times in small. Because that first one, you set that on fire. Buy all the most unnecessary stuff. I know there was a point in my life I went through about $50,000 and I couldn't tell you what the hell I bought. Matter of fact, I couldn't tell you if somebody stole some of it. I had spent it so fast that I couldn't go back to the receipts and find out, so where this money went? What about this part? What about this? So when you examine that youth is wasted on the young, you start to, as you get older and realize some things, then you say, you know what? No, I'm going to deal with this like this, and I'm going to deal with that like that. Now, the next time something of substance rolls around, you're going to deal with that differently. You ain't going to set it on fire like new money. See, people don't even want to live around new money. So you got people who have been working all their lives and they get, buy them a house in a neighborhood. And then you got the dude who hit lotto last week. That new money. He ain't used to no money. And he moved into the neighborhood going down. He not used to dealing with anything. He not used to upholding anything. He'll buy something with an acre of land, but then realize he ain't got no lawnmower. He ain't cutting the grass. He ain't doing none of that. Now, he got $300,000 worth of cars in the driveway, but the grass is covering the cars. You can't. See, that's new money. New money spend all the money wrong. Because that's what it do. We have to learn to pace ourselves, and what seems like it is a wonderful situation in the beginning, you'll find out later that you're going to pay for that. I don't know if any of y'all heard the old parable of save a piece of pie. An old man was telling us about this, that the woman ends up seeing the movements of her young girls and say, you need to save a piece of pie for your husband. So what you mean by save a piece of pie? I'm watching how you divvying up that pie. And you moving real early because you're moving around everybody else and how they're moving. But eventually, you're going to find a man who's going to take care of you. You're going to find a man who's going to be there for you. And if you done gave away all your pie, there's going to be a hungry man that's going to come home. And you ain't got no more pie because you done gave it out when you were 15, 16, 17. You wanted to hang out in the street. You done gave away your pie. Now you find a situation where there's a hungry man that come home, but ain't no more pie left because you done gave away your pie. But what happened? In the circle that we're in, our morals get based upon that circle. So as that circle changes, so does the morals. That's why the old lady said, I see how you're moving, and you better save a piece of pie. At least you find yourself in a serious situation. See, some of the things that we receive are based on the labor that we did before. You may be looking at somebody's life and see the things that they have, but you don't understand that the way that they have that is because of some previous labor that you know nothing about. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 44. And we see how Yahweh operates. See, we are going to inherit some good things based upon whose lineage we are in. But understand something. We may also be in a situation where our forefathers have done some things and we may have certain jobs because of it. See, what Yahweh promised is you will not die for the sins of your father. That don't mean the sins of your father ain't going to affect you. So then we have to consider that as we have children. What kind of things are you bringing upon them by your actions? See, there's some people that they can't be convinced that the way in which they operated was horrible until they see that same thing happen to their offspring. Then they realize. And then they'll sit there and be quiet. Like they don't know why that person is going through that. No. This is what you did in your 20s. That's why this individual is suffering in their 20s. That's the power or the aura that you put on them. We act like we don't know why it's happening when we know exactly why it's happening. Ezekiel chapter 44, and let's read verses 1 through 16.
Then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary, which looks toward the east, and it was shut. Then said Yahweh unto me, This gate shall be shut, it shall not be open, and no man shall enter in by it, because Yahweh, the El of Israel, has entered in by it, therefore it shall be shut. It is for the prince, he shall sit in it to eat bread before Yahweh. He shall enter in by the way of the porch of that gate, and shall go out by the way of the same. Then brought he me the way of the north gate before the house. And I looked, and behold, the glory of Yahweh filled the house of Yahweh, and I fell upon my face. And Yahweh said unto me, Son of man, mark well, and behold with your eyes, and hear with your ears all that I say unto you concerning all the ordinances of the house of Yahweh, and all the laws thereof. And mark well the entering in of the house, with every going forth of the sanctuary. And you shall say to the rebellious, even to the house of Israel, Thus says the Adonai Yah, O you house of Israel, let it suffice you of all your abominations, in that you have brought into my sanctuary strangers, uncircumcised in heart and uncircumcised in flesh, to be in my sanctuary, to pollute it, even my house, when you offer my bread, the fat and the blood, and they have broken my covenant because of all your abominations.
They have broken my covenant because of your abominations. See, they watched how you dealt with my statutes and judgments, and then they matched it. Go ahead.
And you have not kept the charge of mine holy things, but you have set keepers of my charge in my sanctuary for yourselves.
Right, not people who are going to fight for the upholding of the statutes, but people that we cool with. See, Israel went to the point where they wouldn't even let the Levitical priests do their job. They found other people and set them in the position. Go ahead.
Thus says the Adonai Yahweh, no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the children of Israel.
Right. At this is the future setup of the kingdom. Now, we read it earlier in the law. For there are some that are given unto the law and others that were not given unto the law. So then that means that between circumcision and uncircumcision, there is no separation. That's grace. That's not going to always be. But you also notice that it says of any stranger that is among the children of Israel. You know that don't apply to us, right? See, be careful how you hear what you hear. That don't apply to us. That applied to the stranger. He already expected you to have your circumcision. Go ahead.
And the Levites that are gone away far from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their lawlessness.
Right. So now the future setup in the kingdom is now set up based upon how your forefathers acted in the past. Why you think in the country the first time they see you, they say, hey, who bought you? I'm gonna figure out what kind of bloodline you got there. What is standing before me? Then they say, your daddy who? So who your mom? Now, they're rattling around in their head what kind of individual and whether or not they're going to let you hang out with their kid. I know about your daddy. Hey, Yahweh is about to assign jobs based on what work the fathers did. Go ahead.
Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge at the gates of the house and ministering to the house. They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister unto them. Because they ministered unto them before their idols, and caused the house of Israel to fall into lawlessness. Therefore have I lifted up mine hand against them, says the Adonai Yah, and they shall bear their lawlessness. And they shall not come near unto me to do the office of a priest unto me.
Right. They got certain limitations. Now, these are the offspring that have limitations because of what the fathers have done. So then when we operate, do we consider that some of those limitations shall be placed upon our children? The way in which you treat people, the way in which you operate in things, do you consider that the spirit of those things may return unto your children? Go ahead.
Nor to come near to any of my holy things in the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed. But I'll make them keepers of the charge of the house, for all the service thereof, and for all that shall be done therein.
Now, Yahweh shows one thing. I'm going to keep my promise, but I'm going to make levels in this. I made promises. I'm going to keep my promise, but they're going to be levels according to the way in which you served. Go ahead.
But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me.
Stop. He made a separation. When everybody else went astray and these people stayed, there's a separation here. See, everybody can do right when there's nothing on the table. See, this is why Yahweh says that there must be heresies among you, that those who among you who are chosen may be proved. Yahweh not going to stop every heresy from coming in here. Some of them, he let Lucifer invite them. Please invite this heresy. Why? This is going to test my servants. They're going to be better servants after this. He says that so those that are proved among you may be manifested. You're going to know. After that heresy, come in there and try them. After that heresy, pretend to be nice and do some of the wicked things that heresies do. You're going to realize who stands among you. You're going to realize who stands up. Go ahead.
They shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, says the Adonai Yah. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table.
They shall come near to my table. You're going to understand who worship and who serve right by how close they come to Yahweh. See, that's the arrogance of people. You know, I talked to God last night. Oh, you just going to enter into the table, huh? So you just going to walk right up? What work you did? How you just walk up to that table? Go ahead, bro.
To minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge.
And they shall keep my charge. This is the ending of the race that he's speaking of here. But the ending of the race is based upon how the forefathers walked the earlier portion of the race. So if you're not walking at least for yourselves, consider your walk for those who are going to come after you. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.